Okay. Hey, well, hi, Lindsay. So today we're gonna learn. I know you already know some clarinet stuff, so we're gonna quickly review a lot of the basic things, fix any problems you might have, and answer any questions you do have, and then we'll get into some more playing stuff with fingers. So first, we're gonna review is how to put the instrument together. So whenever you're putting it together, you always want your clarinet case to be on a flat surface. So we're gonna put it on the floor. I mean, you can put it on your lap, but you know how unstable it is. Our case might fall down while we're trying to put it together. So first we open up the latches. We're gonna put the instrument together. We're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up. So the bottom piece is our bell. So if you can grab your bell, then the next piece is the lower joint, the longer one. And then we're gonna put these two pieces together. If it's a little too tight, like hard to put in, that's when you put cork grease on the cork. You never want to put too much because then it'll ooze out when you try putting it together. But just get some, kind of smooth it on if it's difficult to put on. It's always good to cork your greases pretty much every time you put your instrument together, or every other time you put your instrument together, just to keep the corks um, like smooth. Because they can dry out and they'll tear, and then you have to send it to the shop, and they'll take forever to fix. The next piece is the upper joint, so this next one. And when you're putting this together, watch me first how I'm putting it together. We're going to want to align this bridge key with this bridge key. If they are out of line, the keys that get pushed up won't get pushed up all the way, and it'll cause problems when you're playing. So when you see when I put it in, I'm holding it from the top up here, and I'm pushing it in and aligning the bridge keys. So how about you try? Can I check? Yeah, that's pretty good. So next, what do you think comes next?
The barrel.
The barrel. Yep. The barrel, we're gonna just screw on all the way. Okay, and then last would be our mouthpiece. Just make sure that the mouthpiece, where the reed is gonna go, is gonna be straight in line with your register key. You can always check down by going like this and checking if it's in line. Okay, so next we're going to review how to put the reed onto the mouthpiece. So if you want to grab your reed, put it in your mouth. You always want to make sure your reed is nice and wet. And grab your ligature. Okay, so when putting on the reed onto the mouthpiece, you always want to put the reed on last. So first would go your ligature. So you see how we have two different kinds of ligatures? Mine has one screw, yours has two screws on it. The ones with screws, the screws are always going to go on the right. That's an easy thing to remember whenever you're um, putting your ligature on, and whenever you teach your little kids, because you'll see kids with like it's on backwards and it doesn't fit, and they'll end up breaking it or something. But the screws are always on the right. So with your reed, you never want to touch the top part of the reed. You're always going to be touching the bottom parts of the reed. When you're putting it on, watch me model first. You're going to make sure your screws are loose enough so there's room for the reed to go in. The reed is going to slide in. You lift your ligature up a little bit and slide in your reed. Then on your mouthpiece there should be these lines. Kind of see them right there. That's where your ligature is going to go in between. So first you try to move your reed around to where the top of the reed is about a hair below the mouthpiece. You see that? Or you can kind of see the black. And then you want to readjust your ligature. And then mine has one screw. Yours has two screws, so whenever you're doing it, the lower screw is going to be a lot tighter to hold the reed on, and then the top screw is going to be nice and snug. How about you try putting the reed on your mouthpiece? Oh, you don't want to touch the top of the reed. Reeds are very sensitive. If you bump your reed up against something, it's really easy that it'll crack or break or chip, and then you'll mess up with tone. So reeds are very important. They're pretty much the whole reason why our tone is the way it is. If you have a hard reed or soft reed, it all affects our tone. Remember the bottom reed, the bottom screw you want what?
Tighter.
Nice and tight, and then the top screw a little snug. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so now that we've had all of this done, we can close our clarinet cases. We can put them under our chair. And we'll go into reviewing how to form the embouchure on the mouthpiece. So first we're actually gonna do this without the whole instrument. So we're gonna take off just our barrel and our mouthpiece. And the clarinet we're gonna actually place right behind us. So when we're sitting down, we're always gonna be sitting at the edge of our chair. So there is gonna be this space right behind you that your clarinet can go in. You wanna gently set your clarinet in there. Always be careful, you never wanna roll back and squish your clarinet. So when we're forming the embouchure, you've had a milkshake, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like when you put a straw when you're drinking a milkshake into your mouth. So you think, pretend my finger is the straw. My bottom lip is going to be called our cushion. It's what it is whenever we put the mouthpiece in our mouth. So the bottom lip is just a cushion. It's going to go over your bottom teeth. And see, the top teeth are going to go on the mouthpiece or the straw for this example. And then the rest of your lips are just going to close in around. So turn this is the straw, put it on the cushion, top teeth, and close around. And then you do the same thing, try with the straw first, on the cushion, top teeth, and then just close around. That's the same thing we're going to be doing when putting the mouthpiece into our mouth. So watch me first. The reed is going to go on our cushion, our bottom lip, teeth on the mouthpiece, and you feel it around. Watch me one more time. Reed on the cushion, teeth, feel it around. Here, how about you try? Good. Try it again. So tell me step by step.
So we want the reed on the cushion, and then top teeth on the thing, and then closure.
And close around. So whenever you have this in your mouth, you want to make sure you're kind of imagining as if you had the whole clarinet. So if I put this in my mouth, I don't want to go straight out like that, right? Because I'm not going to hold the clarinet out here. So when we're holding the clarinet, it's going to angle down kind of in between our knees. So think you want to angle also this in the same way. You don't want it too low or too far out, as if the clarinet is angling right in between. Good. So now that we've reviewed how to put the instrument together, how to put the reed on the mouthpiece, we've reviewed how to form the embouchure, let's actually get to some playing. So first, let's make our first sound. So I know you've played clarinet before, so we're going to try to just refine anything you have going on. So first, when you breathe, you want to make sure you're breathing to the bottom. So our stomach is going to go out. We never want to breathe up, or it's going to cause all this tension in our neck, and it's not going to let the air fully come out. So you think, breathing to the bottom. See how my stomach, when I breathe in, it goes out? It's the same thing you're going to want to do. So when you're breathing and playing through the reed and in the mouthpiece, you want to think the air goes into you and then goes straight out and straight into the mouthpiece. You want to breathe through your mouth and out through your nose. So for example, I'm going to go first. So air went in, went straight out. You never want to go, kind of hold your air and then push it out. It's going to cause a big stutter, and then the air's going to splat out. So remember, you think straight in, straight out, kind of like a never-ending circle of the air. So listen to me and watch one more time. Now you try. Yeah, so tell me about it. Do you think the sound was similar to my sound?
No.
Why do you say no? What do you think was different?
It sounded like shaky.
Yeah, so if it sounds shaky, that means the air is not going straight out. It might be a little stuttered. So when you think of air, you want to think as if, for example, our air, you want our air to look like a nice block of air, nice and full. So if we were to draw the sound you just made, you said it was kind of shaky. It would kind of look like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now what we're aiming for is this big block of air. So that just goes to, your air has to go in and just straight out. Mm-hmm. Listen first. Nice and full. Try again. Make sure to breathe to the bottom and not up here. Yeah, that was a lot better. Try it again just to make sure it wasn't just a one-time thing. Okay, yeah, it's getting a lot better. Again, if it ever sounds shaky, that goes with what? Air. Yeah, make sure your air is nice and full the entire time. So now we got air going. Let's talk about how you articulate. So articulate means the way you tongue something. So you play French horn. It's a bit different from the way you tongue on the clarinet because you actually have something inside your mouth. So when you're tonguing, you want to think the tip of your tongue. So as if you had like one little taste bud on your tongue. That is touching the tip of the reed. Or the top of the reed, whatever. Nice little saying you can remember is tip of the tongue to the top of the reed. You can always think that, and it'll always help you where your tongue is going. You never want to tongue like back here with the back of your tongue, so it's going to sound really thuddy when you tongue like that. So always aim for just the tip. So I'm going to do some articulation, and then I'm going to want you to model back to me what I played. Me first, I'm going to play 4 notes. I'm going to play it again, and I want you to describe to me what it sounded like.
So basically, every time your tongue hit the top of the reed, it stopped the flow of the air to create a new note, so to speak.
A new note, right? But were they short? Were they long? Were they connected?
They were connected.
Connected. That's the kind of tonguing we're going to be aiming for. Nice and connected. Right from the beginning, we're just going to focus on connecting all of our notes from the beginning. So again, my tongue is just tip of my tongue, one little taste bud touching the top of the reed. To draw this out a little bit. So again, our air is wet, like a block of air, like nice and strong, right? Our tongue is just slightly interrupting the air, the full sound. So we're gonna keep going, and our tongue is just dee, 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 dee. You can think T when you're tonguing, T, because when you say T, your tongue goes up, and that's the way our tongue needs to be when we're playing the clarinet. T. So if you say the word E, say E, E, E. Now focus on where your tongue is. Say E again. E. Where is your tongue?
At the top.
To the top, and that's where we're going to want our tongue whenever we're playing the clarinet. So when we say T, we're adding the articulation with our tongue, and we're adding E is at the end of T, and our tongue is still at the top. So T, 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 T. Okay. Me one more time. And you try. Okay. Your turn. Okay. Tell me about that sound. Was it as similar to mine? Was it better? Was it different?
It was worse, but
why do you say it was
the start
worse?
of it wasn't the air kind of like it wasn't a full air going at the start.
Yeah. So what do you think you have to do to
just keep the air going?
Yeah. So that's all you have to pretty much think about. The air is still going, and then the tongue is slightly separating. Try it again. Yeah, that was 100 times better than before. Why do you think that was?
Because the air going.
Yeah, when you keep the air flowing, the separation between the notes, it sounds more connected and doesn't sound like thuddy or like super choppy and separated. So me one more time, you, just so we make sure we understand how articulation goes. So again. Yeah. So you see how it's starting to sound more and more like the way mine sounds? That's what our goal is. You always want to try to match what I sound like, and then we'll fix from there. So what have we done so far? Put our instrument together. We've put our reeds on our and ligatures on our mouthpiece. We learned how to breathe. We learned how to form your embouchure. We learned some articulation stuff. So now let's move on to actually getting our hands on the instrument. So I want to grab your clarinet from behind you carefully. Now we're going to put our barrel onto our mouthpiece. Again, make sure it's in line. You can always tell again from making sure the reed is in line with the register key and so on. Need some cork grease? You want to take your barrel off. So I'm going to apply it for you this first time just to show you how it goes. So it's difficult to put on, right? Because the cork is either dry and it's not letting it go all the way in. So when you get your cork grease, kind of looks like chapstick, you want to put a thin coat on the cork. So here I'm just thinly putting it on. I'm not like caking on a huge layer of cork grease on it. A nice thin coat. And then after that, you can always like spread it across with your thumb. Might be kind of gross, but just helps it apply better. So now try putting the barrel on from them. That help kind of. Okay. Again, make sure everything's in line. Okay. So now we're gonna focus on. We're gonna start learning some fingerings. I know you know quite a bit now, but how about you show me what you do know already? You don't have to play it first. You can just tell me if you know the names of the notes and the fingerings.
This is the F major scale, so this is going to be G.
Which one's G?
This one. This one. Or is it F?
Okay, so how about we just review? Let's go. So when you hold, actually, let's review how you hold the instrument before we go into any of that. Just to fix if you have any bad habits now, we'll fix them as we go. So when you hold the instrument, if you look at the way I'm holding it, it's nice and relaxed. My hands are nice and open. They're kind of like what we think with our fingers. It's kind of like flute players too. You think your hand is in the shape of a C. So a good way to check that your fingers are like C's, you can pretend you're holding a flute. Make sure nice and open, and then you go back down. So we want it nice and full, like as if we had like a tennis ball in our hand or something. It's because we have all these keys on the side, and if we touch them while we're trying to play another note, it might squeak. We never want squeaks. We're trying to prevent all that. So we have to make sure it's nice and open. So your right hand, your thumb, we're gonna hold the thumb rest. This pretty much supports the entire clarinet. Is gonna be like right behind where your nail is. Yeah, that's a good spot. The reason it has to be kind of around there because if we like put our thumb too far in, you see how my fingers like get pushed all the way across, and then it makes it that I have to like pull my fingers back to try to get to the keys. So if we put it at this comfortable position, like right behind your nails, usually at the best spot, her fingers can easily get to the keys. With our left hand, our thumb, if it's on the key itself, your thumb is kind of angled a little bit, maybe 45-degree angle, kind of. Just so it's easier whenever we start using the register key, it can easily just roll up and touch it. And then our fingers here, they hover over the keys, and then our pinky hovers over this pinky key. Right? Our fingers, we're going to have them hovering over there just to get you used to having your fingers there for whenever you actually play notes. There. Same thing with our right hand. Our fingers are gonna, our 1, 2, 3 fingers are gonna be hovering over the keys. And then our pinky is gonna be hovering over this bottom key. These are the first pinky keys we learn to use, so it's good to, and ones we commonly use. So it's good to have your fingers resting over this. So show me, you can put your mouthpiece in your mouth and show me your best clarinet posture. So make any comments. This looks good, it's nice and open, so if you're holding like a tennis ball, your fingers are hovering over the keys. Your thumb is on a good spot. Again, if it was too far in, our fingers would be like touching the rod, and we don't want that. Just make sure it's nice and over the key. Okay, good. So now let's go over some fingering. So the first note everybody learns to play is open G. When I say open G, that means because you have no fingers now, not on your right, not on your left. So I'm going to play that note first, and then I'm going to have you play, and then we'll work our way to some other notes. So again, I have my good posture, forming my embouchure, bottom lip, teeth, lip around, and I'm going to breathe in, breathe to the bottom, and then straight out. We don't want to hold our air or anything, just straight out. Yeah, I'm going to try it. So the same thing when we did just with the mouthpiece and barrel, our air is still this nice full block of air. How about you try open G? Tell me about it.
It wasn't as full. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I need more air.
I feel like at the beginning you kind of started really quiet, and then you made your way up into the good sound.
Yeah.
So what do you think you can change the next time you try it?
Taking a deeper breath and continue it, like make it. When I breathe in, continuously move the air, like pulling it out.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play it again. Try to model my sound. Yeah, that was a lot better than before. Your start was completely different from the first time because your air just continually kept going. It wasn't just a little air and then all the air came out. So now let's learn some fingerings of other notes. So the first scale we're going to learn, which is a pretty simple scale, is our F major scale. Because the fingers kind of just go straight down. And it's an easy one to start learning your fingerings. So we're actually going to start with, the first note is going to be an F, first space F, and that's going to go just our thumb. So the first note is F, that's thumb. I'm going to play it first. Again, you do the same concepts we did with our open G, now on F. Good. Your sound was a little shaky, so what do we do to avoid that?
Continue there.
Continue there. The next note we learn, all we're doing is putting our first finger down on our left hand. And that note is going to be E. So we started with F, and that was what? Thumb, right? Now E, thumb and what first finger? Good. So now we have F, E. Do you know the next note in the scale, like music theory wise? A, B, D. So to play D, thumb, 1, and now you have the second finger. And again, this whole time my fingers, other fingers that I'm not using are still hovering over the keys, so it'll be easier to get to them when we do get there. So try D. Good. Our sound is still nice and full. Next would be what note?
C.
C. And C we finger thumb, 1, 2, and 3. Think first. Now that we're at like our halfway point pretty much, let's review some fingering. So what note is thumb and 1?
Thumb and is E.
E. Thumb, 1, 2, 3.
C.
Thumb.
F.
Thumb, 1, 2.
D.
D. Yeah. So now let's keep going. So the next note in the scale is
B flat.
B flat. So B flat is played. You have C, and now you're just adding the first finger down on the right hand. next is
C. No, sorry, I went up. Went up. Okay. A.
A. So A. Now we add second finger. It's kind of an easy scale, right? We're just adding fingers down. So next, thumb 1, 2, 3 on the left, and then 1, 2 in the right hand. Good. You're getting a nice full sound even in the low register. It's a good thing. So now next, what is the what note?
G.
G. And what do you think the finger for that is?
Thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. We're slowly adding fingers down. Now we have pretty much all the tone holes covered. Good. So now our last note in the scale is F. And F is played thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then and then this bottom pinky key right here. We're gonna call this pinky key number 2. Okay? Number 2. So I'll say number 2 pinky. Good. So now we played all the notes. Let's review some of the fingerings down here. So if I was to have thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 down, what note is that?
A.
Thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 2 pinky key.
Is F.
F. Thumb 1, 2, 3, and 1.
B.
Thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
G.
G. Skipping.
No.
Got all of them. Thumb.
F.
Thumb 1, 2.
D.
Thumb 1, 2, 3.
C.
Thumb 1.
E.
Thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm just kidding. Thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
E. Sorry, G.
G. Okay. So now that we learned all the notes in the scale, we're gonna try to play all of them consecutively, one right after another, slurring them. So slurring them, I know you know what that means. Just no tonguing in between, all the way down to F. So I'm gonna go first, and we're gonna play them as quarter notes. So our tempo would be. Just have my foot going. It's gonna be your tempo. Me first. I'll model, and then you'll try. And then the last note, the last F, we're gonna hold out for 4 notes. So again, listen to me, finger long as I go, just to help you prep you on the way. Ready? Okay, so how about you try? 1, 2, ready. Okay, good. Tell me about it. Do you think it went well? What do you think went bad? What do you think you need to improve on?
I feel like my fingers are just like not close enough, so it feels like I have to travel more because I lift my hand.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing of why I keep reminding you, or it's reminding that fingers have to hover right over the keys, so it's easier to get there. When you were going from A to G, I heard a little, like it kind of slid into it. That means your finger was kind of searching for the hole, and then it got on there, and then it fixed it. So if you look at your keys, if we start on the top, see how small this one is, and then how big this hole is down at the bottom? We just need to make sure we're using our chubby parts of our fingers, I call them the chubbies, to cover the holes all the way. Or else we're going to get that like slid note in there. So I'm going to model again, and then I'm going to try the scale again. 2, ready. So now this next time you're doing it, try fixing any of the problems you had on the first time. So fingers closer, and make sure you cover the key, the hole right away. 1, 2, ready. Let's start again. So just remember, air is continuously going, and we're covering all of the hole. Make sure your hands are nice and open like a tennis ball, so we don't touch any side keys. Again, 1, 2, ready. Okay, so now we're having a little problem getting the notes out. So, that it can be caused by not covering the hole all the way. Let's start on C and then work our way down to F. So again, remember, these holes are a lot bigger. You have to cover them right away with your finger.
Okay.
Now starting on C, 1, 2, ready. Yeah. So notice how the first time, I think you just weren't covering the holes all the way, and then that caused it like that weird note that wasn't coming out. So now let's try putting all of it together from the top F, working our way down to the bottom. So again, focusing on the lower notes. 1, 2, ready. Yeah, that was the best one you've done. So what do you think went different on that one?
I made sure I covered the holes and my fingers are hovering.
Good. So that's just things you have to remember as you're going on. So today we learned about, we reviewed putting the instrument together, we reviewed putting the mouthpiece and the reed onto the mouth, the ligature and reed onto the mouthpiece, we reviewed how to breathe, where to breathe to the bottom, reviewed embouchure, we reviewed clarinet posture, we learned fingerings, and we learned a little scale. So next time we're going to learn more of articulating with the scale and then making our way back up to scale. So this was a good lesson. I hope it is.